How to print holiday trees with a paper stencil. You'll need cardstock, silkscreen, screen printing ink for fabric, a printout of an image that you like, black and white, an Xacto knife, squeegee, and some tape. All right, let's get going. Here's a picture of the things you'll need. Most are very easily available at your local art store or hardware store. The screen you can buy at an art store, or you can order from eBay, which is where I found this inexpensive one. It is 11 by 14 screen. You'll need your printout of a very simple image, nothing complex, one color only, preferably black and white. And we're going to use that to make our paper stencil, which we will use to print with. I also have some blue screen printing ink from the art store, Speedball brand, and a squeegee. The spatula is just for dispensing the ink. You need a clean printing area. This is a simple, inexpensive screen, and some cardstock and an Xacto knife for cutting the trees out. All right, so let's get ready to do that. Oh, you'll need a cutting board too, or cardboard, something to cut on. I'm simply cutting the trees out exactly as they are. You could also use a hand-drawn image if you prefer, but we're just using a solid shape right now. Nothing complex, no outlines, just a silhouette shape, and that is how we're making it so easy today. The one important thing is that you need to size your image smaller than your screen, way smaller than you think. It needs to have at least 1.5 inches around the image. If you make your image too big, the size of the screen, you will not print well. You need to leave plenty of room around the image, so make it smaller, please, but not so small that it's hard to cut out. I'm speeding up this part. You don't need to watch me cut everything. Once we have it all cut out, we'll be ready to adhere this to the back of the screen. And by the way, this is a clip art image I found on the internet. Okay, looks good. Now, if you have any areas where you've sort of overcut using the Xacto, then you can repair those. I recommend it with just some regular clear tape. So for example, the corner of this tree, I don't know if you can see that, but it's I cut it twice, so I'm just going to fix that because the ink will go through that and make a blob. So if you have areas like that, go ahead and repair them if you want a really clean image. All right, as we've said, at least 1.5 inches around the edge of the trees. That looks good. Well, we're using the back side of the screen now, the flat one. We reversed the paper so that we're going to print. You will print what you see, but right now we're on the back side of the screen, the flat side that's stapled. We want to use packing tape now to adhere the paper to the screen. And if your paper is wrinkly and you didn't apply the tape very well, feel free to lift it up and reposition it. That's done all the way around, all 4 sides, and I've left no empty screen areas. Everything is either stencil or covered up with clear tape. Looks good. I've turned my screen because it's easier to print vertically in this case than to print horizontally. Now you can indicate where you want your paper to go on your printing area. Especially this is helpful if you're going to print more than one. Any kind of tape is fine here. Now we're getting our screen printing ink. Again, this is fabric ink, not paper ink. Very important. Seems counterintuitive. The fabric ink is thicker and it will work with this technique. The paper ink is too thin to use with this technique. All right, so you'll need a few tablespoons full of ink on the top of your screen, not where the open area is of the tree, above Do you see why you need so much space around your trees? So about 2 tablespoons full or so. You'll get the hang of this with practice. Using a 45-degree angle and holding the screen down, you're going to use firm pressure to pull the ink through. You might need to practice this a few times, but that looks good. Nice job. Thank you. I got a little overexcited and I printed twice. And sometimes that can cause trouble. Do you see where it bled? That was because I put too much ink in. I think there's a way to fix this. So even if your ink bleeds, you can quickly, within a few minutes, 5 minutes, tape that, even if it's a little bit wet. Put tape over the wet areas and then you can keep printing this. Remember, you don't want your ink to dry in the screen. Good as new. Let's try it again. Print number 3. Pretty speedy too. Maybe a little too speedy. This will take practice. There's a few corners of the tree that didn't get ink. That might have been from not enough pressure or a little too fast, but that's okay. I still like it. See if I can get another one here. It's holding up well, the paper stencil, so really I think you could keep going. Just keep going until you no longer like the prints. Screen printing is very addictive anyway. Looks good. I'm going to stop. Before the ink dries in the screen, you want to pick up the excess ink with a piece of cardboard or mat board and put it back in the jar because you can reuse that. And then we will clean off the screen. You're going to remove the packing tape with the stencil. Just take the whole thing off and you will discard that because you cannot use it again. And now you want to take this to a utility sink or a huge bucket with a sponge with water, and you want to clean off the screen before the ink dries within 5-10 minutes. So here I have a utility sink and I'm using a scrubby sponge to get the ink off the screen. Now this is really important because you can reuse this screen many times as long as you take good care of it. And make sure you clean off the squeegee as well. Some of the ink will stay in the wood and you might even get a little stain on your screen, and that's okay. Here we have our prints, and those will take about 30 minutes to dry because we used fabric ink. And the reason we did that was because it was thick and it won't bleed. Troubleshooting. If you have areas that didn't quite cover with ink, maybe you don't have enough ink. You either need more pressure. If you have too much ink, it can cause bleeding. Try 1 pass, not 2. Enjoy, subscribe, and go make some cool holiday cards.